Barack Obama. Bro, do you even lift?
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Underrated Legends series. I hope you guys are having a great day as we dive into episode 2 of the series. This legend has been in the game for a long time, even before I started playing, and I find it surprising he's been in the shadows for a while. Before we get into the video, I will go over the exact definition of the word underrated that we will be using for this series, and if you do not want to listen to the definition and disclaimer, skip to this part right here. The definition of underrated we'll be using is having more importance, value, skill, power, etc. than people recognize. Now, what classifies a legend as underrated, you may ask? Well, a legend is classified as underrated because they have a low play rate or representation in the casual and or competitive aspect of Brawlhalla. They are often overlooked or completely forgotten, and people underestimate that legend and no longer like or care about them. Now for the disclaimers part. If you encounter an underrated legend more than once in a match, or say that character played in competitive, do not automatically discredit some of the points discussed, as you may find some of them to be true. Things are bound to change due to balance patches. An underrated legend may be a legend that everyone plays in the future, and to end a disclaimer, this is all my opinion. You have the right to agree or disagree on some points I cover. The legend we have today is the first and greatest costume superhero in America. He is the one who takes Hammer of Justice to a literal meaning. Here comes the A-Train! Wait, I meant Frozo. Oh, it's actually Sentinel.
Unfortunately, there is no cure for the
plans
we now face. But we do have an even more powerful weapon. Compassion for our fellow man.
No! Compassion for our fellow man!
In conclusion, I want to say that we are all in for some tough times ahead. And when I say we, I mean you.
Sentinel is a legend with 5 strength, 4 dexterity, 7 defense, and 6 speed. His stat lineup is to help benefit the 2 weapons he uses, Hammer and Katars. Sentinel also has what I call the balanced stat lineup, where stats are more balanced and close together. The only reason why I say Sentinel has this is because of his dexterity stance, which makes him have this balanced stat lineup. Some examples of legends with this stat lineup include Bodvar and Diana. One thing people will notice right off the bat is his low dexterity. Like the previous video I covered, dexterity doesn't really matter for certain weapons. Or does it? Let's ask a more certified Hammer player to give us some insight. The summary of that conversation is you get 3 combos that only work at low health, and you shouldn't find those to be important, or the main combos to focus on. With the 2 combos Remy said that you can do specifically at low health, high dexterity doesn't seem like a necessary component of Hammer, since it's not worth it just for those combos, and doesn't seem worth at all to have for high dexterity. No matter what dexterity you are at, you always get the true combos that you had beforehand, with or without dexterity. With Hammer covered, what about Katars? Does dexterity matter for them? Time to ask a certified Katar player. It does seem that dexterity does matter a bit for Katars, and lucky for us, the dexterity stance gives the necessary point for us to have 5 dexterity, and that balanced stat lineup I was talking about earlier. If you feel you need the additional dexterity point, or just want that balanceable stat lineup, dexterity stance is for you. But if you are more of a Hammer player, or you don't do fancy Katar strings and you just want a bit more damage for both weapons, then going attack stance is not a bad idea. Don't be discouraged by having low dexterity. You can still do some of the things you normally do in your gameplay with low dexterity. The speed stance is interesting, and while people do enjoy having high speed along with the fact that speed is good for Katars, you lose a point in strength. This can hurt your kill power with Hammer and Katars. Katars especially have a difficult time with killing. I don't recommend this stance, however, if you feel you need it, go ahead and slap it on. The final stance is defense stance. With high defense already, you make yourself even more of a tank with this stance, and the stance I will leave up to you. Personally, I would not use it for the sole reason that I already have high defense. If you are a more Qatar-oriented player, or you need the speed, do not use this stance. If speed isn't an issue and you want a tiny bit more survivability, use this stance. With the stances out of the way, Sentinel's signature kit is an interesting one. We'll start off with the hammer signatures. Hammer and Sig kills at 160 at the middle of Brawlhaven with a 5 defense opponent. Fully charged, it kills at 130. Hammer side Sig kills 140. Fully charged, kills at 110. Hammer D-Sig kills at 130. Fully charged, kills at 110. While some people may find the force of these signatures to be underwhelming on other maps, the hitboxes and area the signatures can cover makes up for potential kill power, especially with N-Sig and Side Sig. Not to mention the damage from N-Sig and Side Sig is pretty generous and high, and with the area a Sentinel signature can cover will lead up to a kill due to the high damage. Although users may shy away from using N-Sig, I would highly suggest to learn how to use this move due to A, again, the space it covers, along with its high damage and low recovery frames, and B, Hammer D-Light into N-Sig being an excellent kill combo at around 130 damage, should you catch their dodge. Some maps it may take longer to kill due to the kill box roof being higher, but still, a nice combo to know. Hammer D-Sig is especially good for hitting people when they are vulnerable. For example, if a player does Neutral Light because it's a preemptive move, you can D-Sig and make their plan crumble. Although I will say Side Sig is superior to use, D-Sig can serve its purpose when it needs to. Now with the Qatar signatures. Qatar N-Sig kills at 140. Fully charged kills at 110. Qatar Side Sig kills 130. Fully charged kills at 110. Qatar D-Sig kills 160. Fully charged kills at 140, only depending on a certain range. Each of these signatures serve a different purpose, and if you can effectively use them while on the battlefield, they will help you win. N-Sig, while killing later than Side Sig, is used for covering an area and is great at covering vertical angles. The great thing about this signature is it can hit opponents on the ground or air. Should you know when to do an unexpected gravity cancelled N-Sig on someone in the air, will heed you great results and a possible early knockout or free damage. Side Sig is your kill move with its ability to knock out quicker and is slightly faster at coming out than N-Sig. Side Sig paired up with dashing can be an excellent mix-up in order to kill someone while grounded. Qatars do not excel at killing, and this signature serves as a nice addition to helping someone secure a kill. Qatar D-Sig is excellent for the damage buildup, and using a well-placed D-Sig gives you the damage that you need without requiring to go through an extensive dodge read. D-Sig is great at covering horizontal angles. Some people may not know the full hitbox of D-Sig, especially with the splash effect hitboxes you see on the far left and right, and hitting someone with that is getting you one step closer to your goal of winning the match. Depending on where you hit D-Sig, the opponent will be sent in a different direction. This can help you out immensely, say if you knock them far off stage or above when they have no options. These signatures can help you should you take the time to figure out how to use them accordingly on the battlefield. Speaking of time to figure out, one of the weapons that Sentinel has takes a while to learn, and might be one of the factors as to why you don't see a lot of Sentinel players around. That weapon being the one and only Qatars. If you had to take every weapon in Brawlhalla, put them on a list of the hardest to use, I guarantee Qatars would be ranking high on that list. Qatars are a tough weapon to use and to master. You might be thinking, why do you say Qatars are a tough weapon to use? Well, They require you to be good at reading dodges and movement, getting strings off on your opponent, knowing when to get up close and personal without throwing out an attack, being patient while working your way towards your opponent, being able to play off stage, and knowing when to engage or disengage are a few reasons why katars are hard to use, but these examples are all I could come up with at the moment. Even though some weapons may offer the same thing, katars are definitely harder to use by a lot of members of this community, as to why you may not see a lot of people playing katars. And the damage on katar moves are low, hence requiring you to build up the damage with strings and combos. But what if you are unable to get the strings when your opponent is tough to fight against? Despite the examples I made with why katars are difficult, they're actually advantageous to you, not only if you are good with them, but they will also help you out with the overall game of Brawlhalla itself. Some of these aspects will help your gameplay out and your fighting game experiences too. What habits you learn from katars will transition over to your gameplay and knowledge of the game, but it takes time to learn them, just as it takes time to learn katars. And now the end summary. Let's wrap up of why people can view Sentinel as underrated. Underestimating and or underutilizing the signature kit, katars can be daunting to use and to learn. If you play this character, again, I'm not trying to directly disrespect you in any way, shape, or form. I just wanted to share my thoughts on why this character can be seen as underrated. That'll be the video. Let me know how y'all thought of it. Have a good day.